some producers don't want to succeed and they do everything in their power to fail themselves. And that applies to more than producers. But when I posted my inspirational tweet, a producer replied, well, the only thing is it's not about the music anymore. It's about popularity. And if you aren't making what's popular or look the part or know the right people, odds are stacked against you. Now, no producer just started out popular. Peace, what's going on, everyone? I'm DJ Payne One. I'm joined by Dame Ritter and Aaron Knight. This is the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast, episode 125. It's a lot of episodes. How are you feeling about episode 125, Dame?
I'm feeling good. I mean, these numbers just stack up. Time passes so fast. Yeah. And I think that's the thing artists need to realize, because a lot of artists are just kind of like stagnant. They're thinking too much, and you just got to go. And once you go, you realize just like, you know, if you're doing something consistently over the weeks, it's just, yeah, I didn't even know you're typically keeping track of the number of episodes because that's, you know, you're uploading them. When you say, I don't even remember 121 or 117, I remember 112 because you had something to say about 112 because of 112. But yeah, man, these episodes just stack up. I don't think we haven't missed a week. So, you know, we've been pretty consistent. It's been dope. Now we got Aaron rocking with us to give us some fresh momentum and a fresh perspective to keep us going to 200. Let's keep it popping.
So you want to talk about the Travis Scott tragedy? I can't talk this morning. That's a big topic.
Well, first, let me just let people know 1 week notice is finally out. Check it out. Let me know your feedback, positive or negative. We're definitely going to do 1 week notice again next year. Not sure who's going to be involved, artist wise, brand wise, platform wise, but I'm going to start the process of trying to figure that out in the coming weeks. But please check out the album. It's available now on all streaming platforms, and would love to hear your feedback. But yes, we want to talk about Travis Scott and the tragedy that occurred at his Astroworld concert. Unfortunately, 8 people passed away. There was just a lot of commotion, I think, when Travis Scott came on stage or when Drake came on stage with him, and a lot of people just got crushed. So the reason that I wanted to talk about it is because I wanted to explore like who kind of is the artist at fault when things like this happen. And I think initially people would say, no, how can that be? But Travis is known for raging at his concerts. He's known for encouraging it. He's known for encouraging people to bust down barricades. So when you have an artist that does that, should he share any responsibility when he's known for hyping up his concerts in that way and instructing his crowd in that way, sometimes to go against what security is trying to do? How do you guys feel about this tragedy where 8 people have passed and possibly more? Because I know at least one child is in a coma currently fighting for his life. And it really is a tragedy, you know, and I don't think Travis ever expected something like this to happen, but given his brand and what he's been known, how he's been known to instruct his crowd, what do you guys think is his share of the responsibility?
When Travis Scott is winning, Travis Scott is credited. When there's a negative or sad or unagreeable, something happens like this tragedy, then it immediately shifts back to the team. And I personally feel like that's the culture that I want to see end, because Astroworld sells out, it's Travis Scott. You know, McDonald's burgers go crazy, it's Travis Scott. But people die, and people are like, it's so sad to see people blaming Travis Scott. And I don't want to blame anybody. I just want people to take responsibility. I think if you're the face of the movement, you're still part of the repercussions or the benefit that happens to it. So that's my take on it.
Sure. I remember, you know, when I ran Funk Volume, like Hobson and the guys, they were known for like always stage diving. And there was like an extra, and obviously running the label, I understand that there's an extra degree of risk at shows if your artist is jumping out into the crowd, because anything can happen at that point. I mean, even though the guys aren't that heavy, you know, somebody can lose an eye, somebody can get kicked in the face, somebody can get knocked out. So that was something when we tried to get insurance for our shows. They actually said that we couldn't do that. So if anything did happen, it would have fell completely on us. And I tried to encourage the guys not to do that because, one, I understood the risk, and I didn't think it added that much value to the show to incur that risk. Like, I don't think the show was already a dope show, in my opinion. And I don't know if fans went home thinking like, man, that was an amazing show. I'm so glad they jumped into the crowd. I think there were other elements of the show that made it a good show. I mean, granted, I think that it does add to the show, but what does it add to the show enough to make the risk necessary? Payne, what do you think when it comes to stuff like this?
It's a tough one because I want to be respectful to the people that are obviously still living this nightmare. I wasn't there. I need to see more, I guess, to really pinpoint what the failure was. Because obviously there are a lot of opinions floating around. But if I don't actually know what the security protocols were, where they were violated, that kind of thing, who could have prevented what the catalyst was. Shows have so many different moving parts, from security outside to security inside to barricades to the way everything's set up to medical and emergency protocol. There's just a lot going on at any one given event. And so when tragedies happen at events, they're often completely chaotic because you have a critical mass of people. You have loud music, you have disorienting lighting, you have all types of different factors that would enhance the destruction or danger present in any situation. Did you see anything, any footage or anything that suggested to you that it was more Travis's fault or it was more the security protocol?
I just want to comment on that. My point isn't that it is on him for inciting it or anything. So I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's like that team has to accept responsibility regardless. But I'm saying that is typically Astro World sold out. Travis sold more albums than ever. Travis did this for the good stuff, and then for the bad stuff, it's don't leave the artist out of it. It's the security. It's the da-da-da-da. I'm saying that it's a tragedy, and I'm not looking to blame one party or this was an infraction or that was an infraction. I'm just saying that I feel like that whole side has to be willing to say that this was, even if it was at some point out of somebody's control, this is something that we're taking on as our responsibility to fix. And I can't speak on it because I'm not one of the victims' families, but I do see that those steps they're working towards those steps. So again, I'm not faulting anybody either, because I don't want people to hear this and be like, did you see they did this and this and this? I'm not saying that they're not even moving towards redemption. My only point, and I want to be very respectful as well. My only point is that I think that if you're the face of the movement, then you also have to be the face of the struggle, you know? So I'm saying I just was saying, in addition to his team and the Live Nation and the Texas promoter, I think that they should also, it shouldn't be a point on the internet that people think it's sad that Travis is being blamed. It's that, no, like y'all went to Travis Scott's festival, even though there was other names who created it. So now you know what I'm saying? That's just my only point. I just wanted to clarify that. My bad, Dane.
Yeah. No, and I don't know all of the details, but just off jump, it's got to be a shared responsibility. Like, in my opinion, it's on Travis for creating that environment and not putting and his team for not putting the proper controls in place of the risk of something like this, because he encourages people to rage. Like it's become a thing at his concert like that. So I'm not, obviously nobody would have ever thought that 8 people would have died, but they're young people. And then the people, I mean, you got to put some responsibility on the people at the event for acting in that manner. You have to put responsibility on the venue, and the promoters. From what, I'm not sure if this has been validated or not, but some people said that the event was oversold, and just how to manage crowd flow for that many people. I think there's going to be a lot of things to learn from this festival, going forward, so that this doesn't happen again. But there were a shitload of people. I saw a video of just the merch line. Like the merch line was crazy. Like the merch line looked like a concert in and of itself, of people wanting to get, a piece of Travis Scott's merch. But it was just, the stories were just horrifying. I saw an interview with the grandpa of his son and his grandson, because his grandson is the one that's still in the coma. And he was on the shoulders of his father. His father passed out. And when his father passed out, the child fell to the ground and got stomped. So you have people as young as 9, 10 years old in these crowds. And it's sad. It's sad. So I don't think you can pinpoint any one person for full responsibility. I think it's always a concoction that creates tragedies like this. But I just want to talk about it because I want artists to know that thing that you think can't happen can happen, in the environments that we create at these shows. Like when the guys used to stage dive, oh, nobody's going to get kicked. Nobody's going to get knocked out. Nothing's bad going to happen. Like it can happen. So I think you have to assume that assess the risk. And if that's a risk you're willing to take, if you think that it adds that much to the show, then okay, then go ahead and do it. But then hopefully you do it in the most safe way possible to really minimize the risk of something extremely terrible happening. Because it can happen, as we've seen in the past week. I mean, this is just, I never thought that people would just stampede at a concert to the point where you're losing 8+ lives. It sucks, but it's something that artists need to be mindful when you get to a point where you have crowds. And it doesn't even really take a crowd like that for something super negative to happen. So I just want, young people to be mindful as they're planning out their shows.
I don't know what else can be said beyond that. I think a lot of people are playing the blame game at this point, and I guess I don't know what that solves for the victims. I know that really figuring out what went wrong and preventing it from ever happening again, I think is the best we can hope for and the least we can do, honestly.
Well, blaming sounds negative, but essentially that's what it is. You got to find out, the points of where things went wrong, and whether you want to call it blame or responsibility, we have to figure that out for future events so this shit never happens again. So, I know blaming sounds negative, but, I'll call it responsibility. Somebody has to take responsibility for this. And it's probably a shared responsibility. I don't know what percentage needs to go where, but controls need to be in place of the risk of this happening again. So, the conversation needs to happen, and, it's definitely going to happen in court. I know that there were several lawsuits already filed, for all parties involved. So, we'll see what the shakeout of this is.
What a topic to get things started. But yeah, we do have to spread awareness, and people have to be safe. And these companies that put on these events have to take human life more seriously, clearly.
The human body is pretty fragile. When you think about it, there's a lot of things that can happen at these concerts very quickly. And I think most young people just go to these concerts and they rage and they think it's fun. But, we need oxygen. Certain blows to the head could knock you out. If you're on the ground, obviously you're getting trampled on in a situation like this. If there's drugs involved, it takes it to a whole other level, which I'm sure there's no concert like that where drugs aren't a factor, with some of the concert goers. Like that's just what a lot of young people do these days. So yeah, it sucks. I definitely didn't expect to see that trending on Twitter when I logged into Twitter that day. I'm not sure what day it was. I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday of last week, but yeah. I mean, we can definitely move on. Payne, I know you said you had a I think a story to tell. Sit back.
Yeah, it's brief.
Payne stories.
Yeah. One of Payne's stories. I've been trying to post motivational producer stuff, encouraging producers to have faith in themselves and be productive, so forth. Some producers don't want to succeed and they do everything in their power to fail themselves. And that applies to more than producers. But when I posted my inspirational tweet, a producer replied, well, the only thing is it's not about the music anymore. It's about popularity. And if you aren't making what's popular or look the part or know the right people, odds are stacked against you. Now, no producer just started out popular. I don't understand that narrative where people always say it's about popularity and it's about numbers. And it's like, no one starts with numbers. No one starts with popularity. But that aside, odds are stacked against all small business owners, whether you're running a graphic design company, whether you're running a brick and mortar print shop, whether you're running your rap career or you're making beats. And I looked up the stats according to the Small Business Administration. This is from 2019. About 20% of business startups fail by the first year. About half succumb to business failure within 5 years. By year 10, only about 33% survive. So
that's
honestly,
actually that's higher than I would have guessed, to be honest.
yeah, me too. Honestly, I'm sure if you segment that list, and here's the other thing too, I'm sure these stats aren't surveying creatives. I'm sure they're surveying traditional businesses. If you threw rappers and producers and songwriters and engineers in the mix, that number I think would maybe have. But my point is these are still really low odds. A 33% survival rate. If I don't know, an amusement park ride had a 33% survival rate, would you get on it? Probably not. So these if you don't like these odds, then don't get on the ride. But I'll tell you this much. Number one, if you believe the odds are against you, they are. And if you believe you're going to fail, you will, because those become actions or inactions. Your expectation of failure influences the way you act. Number two, I'm not a motivational speaker or anything. I do share the truths about my own experiences. And the truth is I'm not succeeding because I'm making what's popular or because I'm popular or because I look a certain way or because I don't know what other weird factors people have. Neither are the majority of my peers who are making a living in the music business. It's still about the music for almost all of us. And obviously music is a part of a larger picture because it's not called music, it's called the music business. But the self-defeating narrative is tired. I'm really bored of hearing artists give all these reasons why they can't succeed before their journey has even started or throughout their journey. I mean, look, if you tried everything you could and you still couldn't make it, I'm sorry. I'm not saying that can't happen. But the more you dwell on why you can't succeed, the truer that will become. That's not even metaphysics. That's just common sense. Because if you're spending the energy defeating yourself and deflating your motivation, you just won't succeed. And that's your choice. I'm only here to present my truth and my experiences. And I'm a living, breathing counter narrative to that. So as long as I'm here, this narrative is trash to me. But again, we all have a right to believe whichever narrative we choose to believe. My advice is choose wisely, because those narratives will affect your thoughts and your actions and your level of success and accomplishments.
Yeah. I mean, not one time in the history of the MEC have we said that making a career in music is easy. Like, it's been the complete opposite of that. I continue to stress how difficult this career path is. But if you're looking for excuses, then you're going to be part of the failure group for sure. Right. But I think a lot of people just in general, they want excuses that's not their fault. Right. So if they don't succeed, or when they don't succeed, it won't be their talent. It won't be anything that they did. It will be something that the industry did, or the way the industry was set up, or that they needed something that they didn't have access to. There's a lot of people that just want excuses that don't lead back to them. And those are going to be the people that fail. So, that creates it makes it a lot easier for the other artists that don't have that perspective, because you're going to easily leapfrog them. So now you're only competing with, 60%, so if 40% have that mindset, they're going to fail for sure. So now you're only competing with the 60% that don't, or the 50% that don't. So it's actually a good thing for the people that don't have that mindset, because those people are failing for sure. But yeah, it's never something that we said on this podcast or in the MEC, like, a career in music is extremely difficult. Sometimes I feel like I say that too much, to the point where it's discouraging people that might want to be in this industry.
But again, that discourages them, that they're not supposed to be here.
That's how I justify it. But at the same time, like, maybe we should dial it back a little. But it is difficult. We can't sugarcoat it. The MEC is not about sugarcoating anything. It's revealing the truth of what it takes. But it goes back to the discussion of, like, even Funk Volume, because if somebody was like, hey, Dame, would you like to start a label today at the same spot that you were in 2000? I'd be like, hell no, like, I wouldn't do it. But so some of that success is because my head was down, just like fighting, scratching, clawing. And if somebody would have told me what it would take to get to that point at the time, I can't honestly say whether or not I would have done it or not. So I
wouldn't have.
But that's why. But so somebody could say to me, "Are you guys too revealing of the truth?" You know what I'm saying? That is a fair, logical argument.
But it still never is as bad hearing about it, ever.
Right.
It's like ever. So, like, even if you would have told me it's going to be terrible, this is going to be the worst decision of your life, but hopefully the most rewarding, because I don't know yet still, because I'm still sitting in the worst decision of my life, but I've done it for so long that I'm like, I have to stay here because like, I've been here so long, we might as well see if it, if it gets a little bit better. So I feel like it would have never changed me hearing it, living in it. Like you said, if somebody would have told me 5 years ago, I would still be fighting for my life. 5 years later, I would have quit then, because 5 years ago, it was super bad. And then year 6 was like, oh, it's going to get better. Year 7, you see a little bit of growth, and then it gets terrible again, but you're like, oh, that was a fluke. It's about to get good again. And then now I'm here at year 10. Like, I see a lot of cool things ahead of me, but I honestly don't even know if they're really going to happen. Is this another trick? So I don't know. I get you, but I feel like you will never understand how bad it is until you do it. I think that even when I tell people, like, yeah, it's terrible, people chuckle because they're like, yeah, your life is so awesome, though. I'm like, I have a Band-Aid for a bullet wound. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think this one thing is cool, but you don't know what it took to get there. So it's not cool to me anymore. It just looks like heartache. So I don't know. I don't know. I think that people have to live it to know how bad it is. And if you make it to this point, then you're supposed to be here.
Yeah. I'm the type of person that wants to know, like, everything that I'm going to be confronted with. So that's why I share what I share on the MEC platform. There are some people that don't want to know. They're just like, hey, I'm going to work. But because I want to know, I share, and hopefully that helps more people than it discourages, on their journey. But yeah, it's a tough business. But the good thing is, like I said, you can leapfrog a lot of people that have that mindset. You can leapfrog a lot of people that don't learn the business. You can leapfrog a lot of people that don't build the right relationships. You can leapfrog a lot of people that are doing this the wrong way. So that is a little glimmer of hope, because there's so many people that are traveling this course, walking backwards, or, crawling, or just doing stuff that's self-sabotaging, that, there's some positivity for you. You can leapfrog a lot of people for sure.
And all those people that you feel like are in bigger, better positions and really don't deserve to be there, or it doesn't make sense, most of those people fade away. Most of them do. So it's like, for this very moment, they may be in a position that you feel like you're better for, or it's like, how did this idiot get there? Most of those people don't last. And if they do, everybody in the room is kind of like, haha, we hate this guy, but we deal with them because we need to. I would never want to be that person in the room, like, regardless of what position it gives me. So that's something I had to learn the hard way, because I'm like, man, how do these idiots keep getting these positions, or how do they get their artists here, whatever. And it's like, most of those people fade away.
Yeah. So for the people that are responding to Payne's tweet, if you're responding with excuses, you've already lost this battle. And, because I literally have never seen anybody that's known for making excuses win. Like the winning percentage is 0% for excuse makers. So stop making excuses and figure this shit out. Because I hate that when people go, oh, they'll take some of the mainstream stuff and they'll say that people can't rap, or it's all about the beat, or it's all about who you know. Like, they're picking out certain examples. It's confirmation bias. Like, they're picking out certain examples that fit their narrative. And then, but there are so many different artists, so many different producers that are doing this different ways, but what they're not doing is making excuses. So what you hear on the radio might be one thing. You might find one artist that fixed the example that you're trying to, or the point that you're trying to make. But I'll show you 50 others that are doing it different, or 50 others that really appreciate their craft. I'll show you Anderson .Paak, who, obviously really cares about music. He just started a label in which the artists that he wants to sign have to be able to play an instrument and perform at the same time. Like, I think that's super dope. I think I really respect the way he's navigated the industry and the music that he makes. So how come they don't use him as an example of terrible music, or it's just about the beat? Like, we can pick and choose all day to form whatever, narrative we're trying to tell. But
also let's be honest too, that this is all subjective. I mean, when rap first started, there were people who heard a Rakim song and were like, this is terrible. This sounds awful. This isn't even music. And Rakim is, the god in hip hop as far as rap goes. There are people who listen to the radio now, they hear a Bruno Mars song. This guy can't sing. This guy's trash. And he's one of the best songwriters.
Dope.
Yeah. But my point is, even an artist that somebody can swear up and down has no merit, no artistic talent, nothing, you will find millions of people who disagree and are paying to see that artist perform, are streaming that artist's music every day, are calling radio stations to request that music. I remember the biggest shock to me when I started working in radio was that, all those top fives, and granted, radio is programmed. They have an A list, a B list, and C list, but they still want to appeal to their listener, because if they don't have listeners, they don't sell ads. At the end of the day, they want to sell ad space, and they need listeners to do that. They're not there to force music on people that people don't like. They're there to play music that the most people like in order to sell ad space. That's the secret of radio. It kind of doesn't go beyond that. And what surprised me was that they would play the same songs over and over, and like, every time I talk to someone, they're frustrated that this station is playing the same songs over and over again. And the program director said, yeah, I know, but watch this. And he took me into the main room and he showed me the console where all the text requests were coming in from people. And people were requesting the song that had just played 10 minutes prior. So a lot of people think they know everything there is about music. They don't, because people are the biggest factor, and people behave in ways that you don't expect them to behave. And that's what it is. So you have to find your fan base, and complaining about it isn't gonna get you any closer to that.
That's all the more reason for people to not be like, nobody rocks with me, you know? And that's what I hear all the time is nobody really rocks with me. It's like, you haven't created a big enough spotlight then, because it's not, I'm never gonna, and when people ask me to listen to their music, I'm like, no, I don't say no. I'm just like, my opinion won't affect whether you're successful. And I tell people that all the time, because there's plenty of stuff that I don't like. Clearly, we've talked about Big Sean, even like Bruno Mars. Like, I was a huge fan of him when he first came out. I feel like he's gone so much more commercial than is comfortable for me, but arguably still an incredible artist. These are just opinions, but obviously my opinion isn't any bearing on all of his Grammys, billboards, and millions of dollars. So I feel like when artists or producers they're big on outside of, there's all these factors stacked against me, then they're like, people are just hating. Nobody loves me. If you had that many haters, you would have just as many, like when you have haters, I started realizing that something was moving in the right direction probably last year, because I started having like noticing real people hating on me. And I'm like, for what? And I'm like, oh, that's the sign that there's something so there's really nobody hating on you. People just don't know you exist yet. So like, let them know you exist. You'll probably find a fan base, because there's a fan base for everything, like you said.
Yeah. And for the people that don't know, like radio is more for like kind of passive music fans, like that just hear songs when they hear them, if they're played on the radio, if they're played in stores, stadiums, things like that. These aren't like your crate digging, SoundCloud clicking, like music fans that listen to the radio. So of course the people that call into radio are going to be people that hear only like the big songs. So we should have, stopped complaining about radio. We should have stopped complaining about radio many years ago, because that's just not, that argument makes no sense. It's a totally different world from where artists typically start out at. So yeah. I don't know if we have enough time to discuss this, but I wanted to also talk about, making friends in the music industry, because I think I came into this industry being way too friendly, or just wanting to be like super cool. It wasn't about just exchanging value with people. Like, I thought people were actually cool. I thought people were rocking with me because like I was just a cool cat. But, you come to find out that once Funk Volume crashes and burns, it's different. Like the calls are slow to get returned. And I'll call a platform out specifically. I remember, we used to do a lot of interviews for, Hard Knock TV. We used to, and his channel is more of like a premium, he doesn't just have it. You have to get to a certain level. Like once you do a Hard Knock TV, or you have to like do a lot of views, right? So he would always want Hobson to be on the platform, because I know that it made a lot of money for him. So I thought we were really cool. He would invite me to the basketball tournaments and things like that. But then when shit hit the fan, I didn't think that he was not going to let Hobson on. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, have Hobson on. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, if we were friends, you wouldn't let somebody come on and just completely blast me. Or if you did that, you would allow me the same platform to have a conversation so I can explain my side. But that wasn't something that he was interested in doing. So I was like, okay, wow, like that. I see where our friendship was at. It was really just an exchange of value, or more of an extraction of value, because, we could have gotten those views on our own. We were just trying to, get some additional exposure, but I was just trying to build the relationship. So I think a lot of times, there was another artist that recently had this realization that people aren't really friends, and you can find friends. And I have found some actual friends in this industry. I'm not saying that it's not possible. All I'm saying is prepare yourself, because sometimes it's simply an exchange or an extraction of value. It's not a friendship. And I was just caught off guard in certain situations when especially when Funk Volume crashed and burned, how people acted differently after that than they did when we had a little momentum. It's night and day for a lot of people. Some people kept it solid, and I still rock with those people to this day, but it's definitely night and day. And I don't know if you guys have had some similar experiences in the industry, or how you've approached friendship.
I mean, I think we've shared a lot of our stories, because you, Aaron, tell me if I'm way off base, but when you work with an artist that closely, there's friendship. There just kind of is. It's hard. I don't know. Do you have trouble? Could you work with someone that closely that you just didn't even want to be around?
That's different. That's a different question than a friend, though, right?
But I get what you're saying, Payne, because you're saying you're working so closely. It's funny that you even worded that to me, because I was telling, I spoke at a university last week, and I was telling the students, it was a management class, and I told them that I have a policy that I'm not friends with any of my artists. We're in a lot of ways closer than friends, because I know so much about them. But I have to be really careful with drawing the line. And that was something that I had to learn. Now, all of my artists, for the most part, are younger than me. I have a couple of artists that are right around my age that work with the agency side, but all of the artists that I manage, well, yeah, I'm in around the same age, but it's a little bit easier to separate now because they're younger than me. But when I first started, they were my peers. They were actually my friends. And then I started managing them. But there's just like, the line is so blurry, because yeah, you're friends, but until, right? And that's not friendship. And so that's super hard. So even with my artists, I try not to hang out a ton socially. Like, we have enough social time being together. So I try not to go to a lot of significant events until it's like a wedding or maybe a funeral, but I'm not going to your birthday party unless it's like friends and family. But if it's your inner circle, I'm not coming to all of that stuff. We have to have a healthy separation so that you know that this is a business relationship, and I love you and I care for you, but I need you to understand that it's different. And I need the type of respect that, a lot of times artists, especially when they're getting hot, they think that a manager works for them. And that's not what this is. I don't work for you. I work with you, but I don't work for you. And I think that sometimes, artists will invite you to everything because they want you to pull up. They want to introduce you. This is my manager, but they don't know. They've never been, they won't come to my birthday stuff. They don't know about my family. They don't know shit about me. But aside from what I tell them, so artists will be quick to call you a friend, but it's like, what do you know about me? And then they'll be like, well, yeah. So no, I'm not friends with any of my artists. I'm friendly and I care about them. I probably love them a lot deeper than a lot of their friends do, because I personally, like you said, I can't just work with somebody. There's a lot of managers who is strictly business, but I think that winning and business, Diddy said this, and Scotty just told me this, that being a millionaire is a lot more about intuition than it is being good at business. So I'm an intuitive person, and I'm a nurturer by heart. So I have to be close to you. I'm not just going to work with somebody I don't rock with. But no, I try not to be friends with my artist at all, because it's not healthy at all. And then I try not to be friends with people at their labels. To a degree, there's a little bit of crossover, but I'm even like learning that right now. Like, those people will call you friend because you may have one of the higher earners, or, you've got momentum and they see it or they need, but I try to, that friend label, I prefer it to be people outside of the music industry, to be completely honest. There's very few people actually in this industry that I legitimately call my friend.
Well, sometimes you
Yeah.
come up with friends. I mean, Dame, you did that.
With who?
You had family members that were on your label.
Yeah, I got a brother. That's a different like Hobson and my brother were friends. Like, but I would probably echo exactly what Aaron just said. I'm older than Hop and my brother, so I never looked at them as peers, and they always looked at me as like a bigger brother type figure. But same thing. I love them, care for them. Did a lot for them. But me and Hop have different interests. Like he would be uncomfortable in the worlds that I move in because that's just not his circle. So
you never considered him a friend, even when things were going well, and there was the most amount of peace in the labels as there ever had been.
But it's a different dynamic. It's not a really. I mean, I don't know what the word is, right? Because I don't want to make it seem like it's just business. Because my family was there for him when he would get sick and things like that. He called on me for everything. Called on me for advice and things. So I'm a mentor at times. I'm a big brother at times. But he's not going to go hang out with me and my friends, like my frat brothers. We just don't have the same shared interests like that. And he would look at some of the stuff that I do as corny and whatever, like, because it's just a different world that we operate in outside of music. So, and it's also funny that Hobson could tell me that I'm corny, but that's a whole nother conversation. But so yeah, it's just I guess it's tough to describe because most people would be like, oh yeah, you're friends. Like that's I take friendship super seriously. And all this like flippant, this is my bro, this is my whatever, like on Twitter and in the music industry, people do that shit and you don't even got my phone number. Like that's weird to me. Wasn't a part of how we acted before I got into the music industry. There's a lot of people that want to let other people know that you're associated or that this person. So they exaggerate the language. Like that's not the, oh, I love you, man. Like, nah, I take love seriously. Like you don't even know me. So stop. It makes me cringe inside. Like sometimes, like I have told people before, it just depends on the situation. It's like, yo, I don't know you like that. It's not something that I always call out, but I've done it before because I take that stuff seriously. I come from a world where that stuff is taken seriously in the entertainment industry. I understand how we're trying to flex and show people that we know each other, we're cool with each other, things like that. But chill with the bro talk and my fam and like.
I think creatives too, a lot of times have that out of whack. Like they could meet somebody in one day and connect so deeply. They're like, this is my production partner. We just signed a 10-year contract together. I like, or I just met this girl last week. We're getting married tomorrow. I've experienced these things. So I think in general, even if you're not an artist working in the creative industry, you may function along those same spectrum of feelings. And again, I'm somebody who's a feeler and I very much resonate with that, but I know my knee-jerk reactions aren't always the most wise. So I temper myself a little bit. So I think that part of the issue for so many people to say, oh, I love you, whatever, is you do one dope thing for them. And so suddenly they feel like now they have to leech, or not even in a negative way. Suddenly they feel aroused in a non-strange way. But it's like, now I feel connected to you because you've delivered something great for me. And I had to start realizing that a lot of people, because I'm caring and I'm deliberate and I encourage people, that draws a lot of people to me. So now they feel this like deep relationship with me. And I'm like, yo, like we've hung out twice and it was because you're friends with one of my artists and we were on set both times. Like, yeah, I said something nice. We ate together. I think you're dope, but like literally you have no context for me. So I think it could be partially because you're a dope human, Dame, and people just want to feel connected. But I'm the same. I hate when people do sis. I'm like, you don't know my last name. Like what? You don't know anything about me. And if you really knew me, you probably wouldn't like me as much because if you knew me, you would know that I don't like that. Like I want to be genuine and real, and I want to figure this out. So yeah, I'm with you.
Well, then there's that other element where people will weaponize friendship too to try to get things from you in the music business, certainly. So it goes both ways. We've talked about that, so I don't want to get back into that, and we can end now on, I guess, that, I don't know if that's a neutral note or a negative note, but yeah, just navigate the business. Everyone's going to make mistakes, and as we've spoken on many episodes, we've made a lot of mistakes, and I'm sure we will all continue to make mistakes, but we'll also continue to persist in the music business, and that's what we love doing, and so we will continue doing that. And if you love hearing us talk about it, you can join our free music business mentorship twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on beatstars.live. If you want an alert how to get notified every time we go live, Dame will let you know how to do that.
All you need to do is text MEC to 844-206-7800. You'll get a text alert right before we start our session. We make it super easy, super simple, and we have some really dope sessions coming up, as we always do. So make sure you tap into them. And if you want to see the recording, if you can't make the live session, all of the recordings of our sessions are on beatstars.live. You can check them out there. I think it's worth going back and listening to some of those when you're in the car, in traffic. Check them out.
All right. Appreciate you tuning in, everyone. Peace.
Peace.